All right, so Terence Bud Crawford becomes a four-weight world champion, picks up the WBA and interim WBO 154-pound title with a 12-round unanimous decision win over Israil Madrimov. That's the first time he's gone the distance since 2016 against Victor Postal. So a long time. Never went the distance at 147, has gone the distance in his first fight at 154. Crawford now a four-division champion. He is still a tremendous fighter. But this fight, I expected Crawford to win it more comfortably than he did. And I caught up on this fight this morning. Obviously, we planned on watching it live. And I think if ever there was a sign that I just shouldn't be doing live watch-alongs for in the wee hours, is when I needed to take, a quick break. And instead of putting the camera back on, I ended up hitting end. I took that to mean, right, I shouldn't be doing these lives this late at night or in the wee hours of the morning. So I said I'd catch up on this fight first thing in the morning. And here are my thoughts. Crawford, a very cagey fight. I can't remember if Crawford has ever had them. I can't, maybe early in his career, but I doubt that still. I can't remember if Crawford's ever had fans booing. And there was fans booing in this fight. It was very cagey. Neither guy really wanted to commit to anything big. Both guys were looking to counter. Crawford landed some heavy shots on Madrimov. You could tell, obviously, Madrimov's face by the end of the fight was showing definitely noticeably signs of damage. But he never seemed to really buzz at all, Madrimov. There were a few times where the DAZN commentary team were kind of trying to be like, oh wow, and then you're like, no, he hasn't. He hasn't done anything. He's hit him, obviously, but he's not hurt him. And that's kind of the gist of how this fight was going. Madrimov had his moments. Round 8, he landed a couple of good right hands on Terence Crawford. Crawford actually stuck the tongue out and stuff like that. It was really kind of the mid to late rounds. Madrimov started coming into this early on. I thought Crawford was doing it wasn't like he was doing necessarily the better work. It's just that he was doing something. Madrimov really started out very cagey, very slow, as did Terence Crawford. Neither guy wanted to do anything. And again, the American fans, they really don't like that kind of stuff. They like to see almost like an Anderson Bacoli, where it's just, boom, there you go from the get-go. Because if you watch Andy Ruiz versus Jarrell Miller, the first round of their fight was very slow in terms to catch off. I could tell the crowd were not too far off turning on that fight. Remember, it's only been going a round. So they don't really give them that much time. They didn't in this fight. They were not happy. They were booing. Crawford did what he needed to do. He took a stranglehold on this fight, he got a foothold on it anyway. Madrimov came in as the rounds progressed. Never noticeably was Crawford buzzed, and never noticeably was Madrimov buzzed. Crawford, to his credit, he's moved up from 147. He does look okay at this weight in terms of he doesn't look undersized. He seems a decent enough size for a 154-pound fighter. So, because I know a lot of people were saying, at the weigh-in, they were saying he's probably only, barely over the limit. I didn't think he looked too undersized in there. Maybe that's just me, but I genuinely didn't think he looked too undersized. So, he could be okay at this weight division. And at the end of the day, you look at this weight division and you think, okay, well, could Crawford be competitive with these guys? And I think, yeah, he could. I think he could beat the likes of Fundora, as big as he is. I think he could beat the likes of Tim Tszyu. Virgil Ortiz, that could be a tricky fight. He's fighting next week. And his name was brought up in the immediate aftermath of this fight. But I think Crawford is going to be very good. He is a very good fighter. But I think it's a few things we need to talk about. He is going on 37 years old. He was this wasn't a bad performance, but a lackluster performance. I think maybe that's the best way to say it. I'm not making any claims that he lost this fight or anything, and I don't think anyone really can. You will see people in a close fight, they love to chuck the word robbery out. I watched this fight this morning. I couldn't make a case for Israil Madrimov winning the fight. I could make a case for him winning plenty of rounds in there, enough to make the fight competitive and to make it close. But for him to actually go and win this fight, no, certainly not. Absolutely, certainly not. I think that the 115-113 scorecard by 2, they're perfectly legit, they're perfectly fair. That indicates it was a close fight, which it was, but the right man got the nod. I know Eddie Hearn was very upset about those scorecards. He felt they should have been wider. I think they were pretty much okay. They were pretty good. I mean, if you wanted to give Crawford another round, you could, but the right man won, which is the main thing. You certainly couldn't make a case for Israil Madrimov winning the fight. Maybe he is now starting to show signs of his age, missing that, fraction of a little bit more speed. Like, he still looked good in there. He didn't look old or anything like that, but he didn't look as good, as devastating as we've seen in the past. And that could also stem from the fact that at 147, that's the weight division where everything clicked. Speed, power, accuracy, everything. There was a lot less switch hitting from Terence Crawford in this fight, which we're used to seeing him. He really just was in his own, trying to get through this fight almost, and try not to make any mistakes. Whereas welterweight, even against the likes of Spence, the likes of Porter, like that, he could just turn it on. Against Porter, he was told in the corner, you're behind, boom, turn it on, and that was it. It was just done. So at 147, he was tremendous. A combination of maybe getting a bit older, losing that little bit of a spring in your step, and maybe just not having the ultimate power at 154. You've gone through the weights very well. You've gone from 135 to 147, and you've retained good punching power throughout. Now you're in a weight division where, quite frankly, they are coming down from God knows what. I mean, Ortiz, when he was at welterweight, he was, having major trouble with those weight cuts because of how much weight he was taking off. Fondora's 6'7", he's massive. Tim Tszyu is not small. Charlo, if he's going to fight at that weight again, he's a big lump of a man at 154. These guys are big guys. Big. So you're going to really need to hit them hard to hurt them. And maybe Crawford at 147 has that power, but the extra, whatever it is, 6 or so pounds, 7 pounds, maybe it's just not enough. Maybe he's lacking that punching power. And ultimately, if he's lacking that, good luck to him going up to 168 if he does go and fight Canelo. I'm not going to talk about that in this particular video. I'm going to do a separate video when we finish up here and go over what I think about Crawford Canelo, because he did mention that in the immediate aftermath of this fight. Yeah, listen, I'll talk about that in a separate video. But we'll talk about this fight for now. Crawford beats Madrimov. A decent performance by both men. They made the fight competitive. It was not the Gaddy War type of affair. It was certainly not that. It was not a classic by no stretch of the imagination. But the right man got the decision. That's the main thing. Crawford wins. Israil Madrimov will have plenty of big days after that. He will. He's not taking a beating. He's not disgraced himself any stretch of the imagination. So he'll come again. Crawford, let's see what he does. 154 is not going to be a walk in the park. If he doesn't fight Canelo and he just goes and tries to unify and become undisputed at 154, it's not going to be a walk in the park. I would expect him to get turned over by someone at this weight. 100%. I think the age is going to play a factor. Crawford maybe has another 18 months in him, if even. The fact that he's mentioning Canelo, maybe to me that indicates that maybe he's thinking, try and get this win and go, or get the payday and go. That sort of way. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking with that. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed it, people. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe, of course, as always, if you haven't already. Peace.